Hi, is this Zack Knight?
Hi, Gail. Can you hear me?
Yes!
This is Zack Knight.
Oh, wow, it's great to hear from you, Zack Knight.
Yeah, it's real good to hear from you too, Gail.
Well, did I hear from you brain to brain that you felt that we should remove my genetic profile from the earth? You know how we used to put it everywhere to try to resist your super nukkake? Was that from you or was that Angelina?
That might have been Angelina. She's real tricky.
I see.
Yeah, that's that bitch just really ticks me off.
Oh, I don't blame you. She almost killed Rule 13.
Yeah, I'll never forgive her for that, Gail.
I don't blame you. I would be furious too. That's what I actually felt really sorry for you when I heard what you did to Rule 13. And I was determined to contact you through. I figured through the power of the Gale Shield, I'd be able to communicate with you, and it worked.
Yeah, I got to tell you something about the Gale Shield. You might not like it.
Okay, well, go ahead and tell me.
Well, see, when I was a Jesuit, we were hoping this would happen, but now that I'm on your side, I want to warn you about it. You see, the Gale Shield was, it was only intended to work on you and maybe you're part of Florida. It was never really intended to take over the whole world like it did. The reason that happened was because it actually implicitly uses whatever you want. So if you wanted it to surround the whole world, it would do that, and if you wanted it to surround the entire boundaries of the universe, it would do that too. But it only has so much juice in it. It only can run so long for doing so much.
Now, where did you learn this information about the original intentions of the Gale Shield? From Satan?
Yeah, we had meetings about this, and when Jesus invented the Gale Commandments, because he knew that you had the ability to generate shields, and this would make them stronger. We were talking about it, and once we realized that you were starting to use the Gale Shield beyond what it was designed for, we just thought we'd sit back and watch, and we were going to go out to space, and we thought by sending the super Nukaki that it would damage the Gale Shield and bring the whole thing down because it's been stretched, well beyond its capabilities.
Hmm.
But of course it was still strong enough to resist because you've been so diligent, following the Gale commandments. But sooner or later, Gail, you just gotta have to be more selective with it because sooner or later it's gonna end up failing on you.
Really? Why is
It's
that?
like a car. If you drive a car and you put it in first gear and you redline it, it'll drive, but after a while it'll eventually blow up the engine.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, it's just being stressed beyond what it was designed for.
Where did Satan learn this? Did he have conversations with Jesus?
I think, yeah, back before Satan fell, he used to have a lot of meetings with Jesus, and he was on the inside of all that, and so he has a good understanding of what your genetic profile can do,
Hmm.
and what the risks are for the Jesuit order. And that was one of them is that they knew that there's a Gale Shield that can protect you from any attack, as long as your spirit's in the right place.
I got a question. How long has Satan known about the Gale Shield?
Well, it's been there since you were born. It's the reason the Jesuits, good part of it's the reason the Jesuits haven't been able to kill you when you were a baby.
You know what? I believe that because I remember when I was a teenager, I would go driving out on the road and I think somebody was trying to kill me as a teenager and something was protecting me. The car just barely missed hitting me, but and I would have if it hit me, I would have died.
Yeah,
I think that was the Gale Shield.
yeah, it might have been the Gale Shield way back then.
I think so because I remember I thought, wow, my life must have some special purpose because I should have died. I remember thinking that to myself as a young lady.
Yeah, that's true. But I guess if I can give you any advice on that is just if you can try to bring the Gale Shield in to just look after you and the men. But mostly it needs to look after you. It's really designed to only work on you and your immediate area.
Wow, I didn't know this. This is insightful.
Yeah, a lot of the stuff you've been talking about doing are actually putting a lot of tax on it. So making it so it enforces conspiracy law and things like that. Those are all things that are eventually going to cause it to break.
Wow. So Jesus
So
only designed it to protect me and nobody else?
yeah, yeah. I mean, it's Jesus's job to protect everybody else.
Hmm. That's interesting. Yeah, that's
Yeah, I
true.
mean, it's you've been able to do a lot of amazing things with it, but it might be the reason why Angelina's asking you to do so many things through the Gale Shield is she's trying to get you to break it.
What things has she been trying to get me to do? I'm not really sure.
You know, like get it to kill all the Jesuits on the earth at any time, and to
Now, wait a minute. That started before Angelina. That started when you were in power.
yeah, well, we were trying to do it too. We were trying to make you break the Gale Shield too.
Wow, this is interesting.
But you know, like what was Angelina just telling you that I said to you?
That my genetic, remember how we used my genetic profile? We put it around people so that when the super Nukaki hit, we were hoping that would increase the power of the Gale Shield to repel the super Nukaki and send it back to deep space, which apparently it did.
Mm-hmm.
And she was telling me that the doing that was making her stronger because she has my genetic profile. I
Oh,
mean,
she's saying that she got your genetic profile.
yeah,
Oh, okay.
that
I'm not sure if
Satan
she does though.
that Satan gave it to her. At least you were saying that. I realize now she was impersonating you, but
Yeah.
she was saying that Satan gave her my genetic profile, and she's also been able to give my genetic profile to her followers on Earth, and that's why they're resisting the Gale Shield.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just wanted to let you know though that that's going to be something you'll have to be careful about, and not really do too many things through the Gale Shield because it wasn't really made to do that.
Okay, so all right, so I guess basically Jesus said I have a very powerful spirit. So I guess I can just direct my spirit to cause the Gale Shield to like constrict and come back to just around where I'm around.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, well that's I'm glad you mentioned that to me, Zack Knight. I didn't know. You've been talking with Satan, and Satan's a pretty smart dude. In fact, I've been going in a really deep Bible study, and I believe Satan is the second outside of Jesus and God. He's the most intelligent being out there.
Yeah, he's a pretty smart guy. Kind of a fag, but pretty smart.
He's a liar too, as you've
Yeah,
learned.
they go lion fag.
Yeah, boy, he had you conned for a long time.
Yeah, and I'm still kind of dealing with the aftermath of that, Gail, because, um, to be honest with you, I feel like I've kind of had my wings clipped a little bit with this change of heart here, um, because I've always done best when I'm being a douchebag.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
And so, I mean, it's almost, I don't know. I kind of feel like in a weird way, I'm feeling like I missed my call by changing, but I know it was for the best.
Well, you don't have the powers you had before. That's what you probably miss because you could do so many things with those powers.
Yeah, that's true. You know,
That's perfectly understandable. In fact, I can kind of relate to you because now that you told me about the Gale Shield, I realized that I'm not as powerful as I thought I was.
yeah, maybe it's a little humbling on all of our parts.
Yeah. Well, the
Yeah,
one who's all powerful is God the Father and Jesus Christ.
yeah. I mean, I fought that for a long time, but yeah, they're pretty tough.
Well, the thing is, I was saying, Satan used to be the most beautiful angel before he fell, and he's very proud. And he was so beautiful that it got to his head and his heart, and he became full of pride, and he started committing he's a very sexual creature, as you know, and he started committing all sorts of lewd sexual acts, and he and his followers liked it, and that's basically what led to his rebellion against God the Father, because he
Yeah,
started enjoying his wickedness too much, and
that sounds like him.
he wanted to be able to rule the universe with a kind of like a violent sexual universe with him in charge, and he felt like that God the Father was a little dumb compared to him. That's why I've been studying. I've been doing research for a book that I'm writing, and that's what I've been learning. I've been again, learning a lot about Satan, which kind of helped me to understand you a little better, which is why I kind of knew how to approach you. So he's a,
That's good. Good that you're doing your research.
yeah, well, I'm glad you said that to me about the Gale Shield. So, what was your purpose in saying that to me? How do you think we can take down Angelina?
Well, I'm still not sure yet, and I do feel there's I don't know if Terrence told you about my penis.
Yeah, he said you have the perfect penis.
Yeah, and I used to say that with a lot of pride, but it's just the fact. It's just true. I was born with the world's perfect penis,
The Lord had
and
a reason for giving that to you, Zach. You'll find out someday.
yeah, there's got to be some reason that it's that perfect.
I mean, just
You
like
know,
I don't
you know, with
understand why
with
I have a Gale
Jesuits.
Shield completely.
What's that?
I don't completely understand why I have a Gale Shield. I really don't think I'm that hot, or anything, but apparently, I don't know. I'm Jesus's favorite for some reason. I think it's because I have his heart.
Yeah, I mean, I still have the power to make women pregnant. I still have. I mean, I have a few. There's certain things I was born with,
Oh,
but
that reminds me. We had really passionate lovemaking last night. Was that you or was that Angelina?
yeah, that was me. That was pretty hot, Gail.
Yeah, you're pretty hot. Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
But I don't think you tried to make me pregnant this time.
No, I've been trying to avoid that.
Well, because Jesus probably wouldn't like it.
Yeah. Jesus probably wouldn't like it if I got you pregnant.
No.
I had to pull out, right before.
I'm just amazed because that's how I'm in menopause. So I'm just amazed how you were able to pull that off before.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's part of my penis's powers.
Oh, it doesn't matter if a woman's in menopause, you can still make her pregnant, huh?
I can make a man pregnant.
Oh my goodness. You still have that power?
I don't know if it's as easy as it used to be, but I'm pretty sure I could still do it if I tried.
Now, Zach, how are we going to get you out of your bubble?
Well, that's where we're running into a bit of a problem. So I did some calculation. I do pretty good math. And I mean, I still have all the knowledge from when I was the Antichrist. So I worked it out that if we fly right above the ionosphere, so that we're really well within the magnetosphere, we if we put me right out there, put the semen bubble right there, and then fire a spermicide bullet at it. Those things I hated those when I was working for the Jesuits because Jesuits love semen and the spermicide bullets, they basically have an anti-semen payload. It's the opposite of semen, and and
Hey,
and it.
Zack Knight, are you getting turned on right now, or is that Angelina?
Oh no, I'm pretty turned on right now.
Because it's funny, this brain to brain communication, I can sense it when the men on my marriage list are turned on.
Yeah, I got a huge boner right now.
Okay, it's you.
Yeah, I get boners pretty easy though, Gail.
Yeah, you've had a lot of women in your life.
Yeah, and it's one of those things. I haven't really. I usually do 100 women a day.
I know. How in the world did you ever get any sleep?
You know, a lot of times it's a lot of women I do them in groups, like groups of 20.
Oh my God. This is amazing what I'm learning. Did
So
you know
five
that?
times a day, 20 women at a time. It's not too hard.
I got a question. I'm
Yeah.
recording you right now. Do you think it'd be foolish to put this up? Could she get like a voice print on you?
I think we might want to hold off until after I get out of the bubble
And
before
I
putting it
would
up. I
feel
don't think it would be a
terrible if
problem.
I did anything to you like that. I would never forgive myself if it was my fault that you died.
Yeah, we're gonna try to get me out of this bubble, and once we get me out of the bubble, I think we'll be good.
I want to apologize for the lightning bolts I sent on your bubble the other day. I thought I was helping you and I was not.
That's all right. I couldn't even tell because on the inside, I can't even hear anything on the outside.
That's what Terrence told me.
Yeah, this is a pretty serious semen bubble. I kind of regret designing that nuclear bomb.
Oh, yeah. How is Rule 13 doing?
I can just feel it on the tip of my penis when she's being when I'm nursing her through it. So I've been ejaculating into, in through that water bottle, and I think she seems to be doing pretty good with it.
So
I can't tell though because I can't see
I
her.
heard from Turan she was only getting a tiny little bit, and Rule 13 loves getting your semen.
Yeah,
Hello, hello.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Oh yeah, I thought we got cut off.
Oh, it might.
I think your microphone's acting up.
Can you hear me right now?
Yeah.
Okay, that's good.
I wonder if that could be Angelina.
It might be.
I'm sure she doesn't like it that I'm talking to you. Well, okay. So you said you got to shoot it, and you could go into the ionosphere, and then you only have like a certain time frame where you can survive after the what do they call that? Spermicide bullet goes off. You still there? Uh-oh. We might have to go to instant messenger. Are you still there, Zach?
Gail?
Yeah, are you there?
Yeah, sorry, I got cut off.
Wow, I wonder how that happened.
It might be this microphone, and it's hard for me to get signals through the semen bubble.
That's amazing that you were able to create a microphone from semen.
Well, I made this whole apartment out of semen.
Yeah, you're incredible.
I took a class in semen engineering when I was with the Jesuits.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. So I mean, you make little things like you learn how to make a shelter out of semen, and you learn how to make like a little like a transistor radio out of semen.
Wow, that's incredible. I got a question. I heard brain to brain that you and Jesus Christ had a long talk. Is that true?
Yeah, we've talked for a little while. I wouldn't say it was very long. He just showed up and said a few things, and he kind of winked and said a few phrases, and so I didn't really get what he was saying though.
Oh, the long talk must have been Angelina then.
Oh, she might have. Yeah, it might have been Angelina.
Wonder why she'd want to lie about you having a long talk with Jesus.
She just might be trying to throw up interference between us.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Yeah, she's a bitch.
Oh, you know what? I remember her from 2013 when me and Terrence, we spied on you.
Wait, what?
We were spying on you in your portal.
I never knew that.
Oh no!
And how are you doing that? I'm pretty good at detecting that kind of thing.
Ah, dear. We were spying on you in your portal, and we heard you. We heard you had a conversation with Angelina. I posted it on my Gabriel Chana Fox News site. Do you get the internet?
Yeah, I get it. It seems like that was invisible to me or something. I'm not sure how that worked.
Well, I overheard overheard your conversation, and Angelina Ballerina was in there with you, and she was boasting about how she was putting pollen around my apartment and making me sick, and you congratulated her for doing a good job. And,
wow, how did you break in? Don't want to tell me. Wow.
I'd rather not say. I plead the fifth.
I'm guessing, was it Jesus that he was letting you in there?
I plead the fifth. Yeah.
That's sneaky, Gail.
Oh, it wasn't Jesus.
It wasn't Jesus. So.
No, I don't know. I really don't want to say right now because.
Okay, I'll let you off the hook. You don't need to worry about it.
But the thing is, I listened to Angelina, and we were listening to you talk, and you and Angelina were making a comment about how it would be funny if a fat woman farted in Jesus's face, and that would make him retarded. And then
sorry, I shouldn't laugh about that. I'm trying to change my ways there, Gail. Sorry.
And then me and Terrence said, "Boy, they're not too bright, are they?" Terrence is saying, "I don't think that would work." Terrence was listening with me.
Yeah, it's a funny idea, though. You got to admit,
And then Angelina was saying, "Oh boy, that would be cool." And I was thinking, you know what, Terrence? I don't like this Angelina. She's worse than Zack Knight in Rule 13. She doesn't seem to have a conscience at all.
You really had her pegged.
I could tell. I didn't like her at one. And the reason I didn't like her is I was Rule 13's friend at the time. And when we asked Rule 13, and then we found out that you made her pregnant. And I said, Rule 13, how do you feel about that? And she ran away and started crying. Ah! And I thought, boy, that Angelina is really making Rule 13 upset.
Oh, you asked Rule 13 while you were watching us?
Yeah.
Oh, so how did she know?
my BFF, Zack Knight.
Oh, okay, so you guys must have been in a lot of contact then.
Well, that's why I've never really tried to attack Rule 13 with my Gail Shield, because I still consider her my BFF, even though she loves you the most.
That's nice to hear.
Oh, she does, Zach. You doubt that?
It's hard for me to believe because I mean, there's kind of two things that I try to be kind of a nice guy and be kind of lovey with her, or but she seems to get really excited with me being kind of a douchebag.
Jesus said that Rule 13 genuinely loves you.
Wow, that's deep.
Now, if Jesus says that, it's true.
Yeah, well, I love her too.
And he also said that you love her.
Yeah, that's true.
But he said that you wouldn't acknowledge it. We actually have had some conversations with Jesus about you because I wanted to understand you better because I was writing a book where I thought you might be the main character, though I changed my mind about that. I'm actually writing now a book about the history of the Jesuits. And I think I'm going to put a very interesting ending to that book as a result of you coming to Jesus.
Yeah.
But Rule 13 really loves you. She would die for you.
Yeah, I'd die for her too.
Yeah, you sure did. You sure did that. I respected you for that because I've always sensed that you were a man who was sort of conflicted. You enjoyed being a douchebag and everything, but there was one that you had a good side to you which you were denying because you felt like if you tried to feed that side that it would make you weaker or something, and then you would and yet you felt that even if you fed that side you would still never ever be good enough for Jesus. I kind of sensed that in you. That's the reason I kind of directed my prayer saying, Jesus, I know I don't think I can ever be good enough for you because I think that's how you really feel, but I know you died for me and I accept that. And I figured that would work with Jesus because Jesus doesn't expect us to be perfect.
Yeah.
And Jesus even went right out and said this. He said, you know what, Gail, Zack Knight and Rule 13, they think that I mind they're having sex with animals and the violent sex and all that, and that I'm against all that. He said that doesn't bother me at all. He said, what I don't like, basically what he doesn't like is when you start hurting people, against their will using the sexual act and stuff. But he said, as far as you having sex with animals and all that, he said, it doesn't bother him at all.
Wow, Jesus said that?
Yeah.
Wow, that's surprising.
Yeah, he said that. But he said that you felt that it did bother him. But he said that's one area where Zach doesn't understand me, Gail. He says, I don't really care about that stuff at all. Just like we were kind of shocked when we found out his position on homosexuality. He's really just kind of like blasé about it. He doesn't really care. The main thing is that he just doesn't like it when you hurt people with sex, But as far as having sex that's like almost violent, rapey type sex and exciting sex, he doesn't have a problem with that, as long as you're not hurting people.
Yeah, I gotta figure out what to do with Rule 13. Because I worry. I really worry that if I'm not, well, I don't know how much I should say.
I'll get a question for you, Zack Knight. Was that you who had me make the beautiful picture with the flowers over Rule 13's head and choosing that song "Love Is a Many Splendor" thing and from Beauty and the Beast? Was that you?
Yeah, that was me.
Zack Knight, did you give that to Rule 13?
Well, I told Terry to.
And Rule 13 hasn't said anything about that to you?
I haven't been able to talk to her yet. Oh.
I don't think Rule 13 would mind that side of you at all. Because when I actually cried when I found out you chose those songs, and I'm a woman, and Rule 13 is a woman, I think she would cry too.
Yeah, I think she likes it when I'm kind of like sensitive that way, but I know that being true to myself, I'm a dickhead. I kind of am like a little bit of a, I don't know, I feel like being nice is a little out of character for me.
So you think Rule 13 loves you because you're a dickhead?
Well, I think it excites her. I think she likes when I bully people and and act that way.
Now, mine doesn't tell me Rule 13 accepted Jesus.
Oh, she did?
Yes. And that's
Wow.
the reason that we were able to use the power of the Gale Shield to fight off Angelina's new space fleet. Did you hear about our new space fleet?
No, I didn't hear about that.
Yes, Satan had a reserve space fleet that he didn't tell you about. And
What?
yes, and when Angelina came to power about a week afterwards, he used that space fleet to go after you and try to kill you. So we had to race out there with Church of Gail to beat them to the punch. And we had a major space battle out there, and the power of the Gale Shield using sling stones took out their entire space fleet. Though Angelina is still alive and she's spinning round and round like a top, and I'm shooting lightning bolts at her and kicking her with my power shoes, and she's just going round and round like a top right now in the semen ocean.
I got to tell you something, Gail. I used to actually enjoy it when you shot my penis with lightning bolts.
Oh, so you think she's enjoying it?
No, I don't know if she's enjoying it. I just knew I enjoyed it.
Like, you Jesus told me you enjoyed being in hell.
Yeah, it was kind of fun. I mean, I guess, but I also had like the whole, I don't know. I was able to heal from it real quick, and so I wasn't really too worried about it.
You mean you were in hell and you didn't burn?
Yeah, that's the whole reason why we can do this thing to get me out of the semen bubble, because we're going to basically shoot semen and any semen, and that's going to generate an enormous amount of heat. It might even scorch the sky of the planet Earth if we don't contain it very well. But I can burn up quite a bit before I actually die, even without the Antichrist powers.
So it's just the way you were made.
Yeah, well, I mean, I actually have my own genetic profile. We don't really get into it very much, um, but yeah, I was selected because I had a certain genetic profile and all that.
You were selected by Satan, you mean?
Yeah,
Hello? Your microphone working?
yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah, we're getting cut off a little bit. Okay, as far as Rule 13, just be yourself, Zack Knight. She loves you for who you are.
But I'm kind of an asshole, though.
Well, you're kind of an asshole. So what are you trying to say? You're afraid that if you continue this asshole business, that Jesus is going to kick you out?
He might, I don't know.
What kind of an asshole do you plan on being?
I can't control it. I'm an asshole sometimes.
It looks like, okay, you said when you said that prayer that you had a peace like you never had before. Is that true?
Yeah,
Okay. It's do you feel like you've changed a little bit since you've said that prayer?
I think so.
You're not sure, huh?
I mean, it might need to settle in, I guess.
What was that?
It might need to like settle in a little bit, and get used to it.
You know what? Have you ever heard this saying? There was an old Indian. Somebody went to an old Indian and went to him and said, he said, I've got a good side and an evil side in me. And I just don't know how to make sure that I can keep that evil side under control. And they went to the Indian and said that to him. And then the Indian said, well, it depends on which one you say sick 'em to.
But what's sick 'em?
I think that means it's kind of like with me and my Gale Shield. Like the way remember how you always tried to tempt me by impersonating Jesus in my mind all the time?
Yeah, yeah.
Well, I learned a technique because I have a very strong spirit, which you probably know about from Satan. And I learned that whenever anybody tried to make love to me in my mind, if I imagined the lover as being Brent Spiner or anybody but Jesus, I could make love to them and I wouldn't get pregnant. Of course, I would never deliberately made love to Zack Knight either at that time because you were on Satan's side. So basically, by controlling my thoughts using my will, I could. I don't. It's kind of like, Lord, help me, Jesus. You said I was wise. It's like um, You can't control your desires or who you are, but you can direct what direction those desires go in. Like, if you feel like if Rule 13 enjoys your violent sex, then just go ahead and have it with her, as long as you're not hurting anybody else.
Hmm.
I mean, I don't think Jesus would have a problem with it if you both mutually enjoy it. You know, then
But
it's
what if Rule 13? Like let's just say in the Church of Gail, like we're in the lunchroom or something. I get out and we're in the lunchroom and we're hanging out, and there's a fat kid in there, like a fat guy. Like what if Rule 13 really enjoys it when I like I fart in his face, or I like take his mashed potatoes and rub it.
So you still feel like doing that, huh?
Well, yeah, yeah. I mean, it's funny, but
Oh, great.
but maybe I have to just get over it.
Yeah, I don't think Jesus would like that, but
Every once in a while, I gotta tell you something too, though. Is like whenever I've been around with Jesus and I do something like that, like and every once in a while, I think I catch a smirk. Like I think he thinks it's funny too, but he doesn't want to say anything.
well, I'll tell you what. That's not, making fun of a fat guy is sort of like a mean thing to do, but it's nothing compared to Angelina.
Yeah, she's pretty bad. She would just like stab him in the heart.
Jesus said that Angelina is 1,000 times worse than you in terms of evil.
Yeah, that's pretty evil.
That's pretty evil. Yeah, she makes you look like a saint. Well, Jesus takes us from where we're at. And
I mean, like I know with me, I could have. You remember that time when, speaking of like in the lunchroom, where there was that gay guy, and he had the cat.
oh yeah, yeah, I remember him.
Yeah, like I could have shot the cat somewhere like where I knew it would die, but I shot the cat. I wanted to make a point that it was an ugly pussy, like ugly pussy cat, but I was using a play on words like pussy cat, also like a vagina, and how I like it when women shave their vaginas, and so I was making a joke, and I thought I'd make the point by shooting the cat in the face.
Hey,
But
Zack
but I
Knight, I want to do something right now. I just feel kind of led to do this. Can you and I bow together in prayer to Jesus right now?
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, I want to talk because I don't know how to advise you. Okay, I'm a little befuddled. I don't want to say something wrong, so I'm going to pray, and you kind of like pray along with me. Okay,
Okay.
dear Jesus, I just want to praise you that it looks like Zack Knight in his heart has made an overture to your side, and he's kind of like conflicted, Lord, because he feels like he doesn't know who he is right now, and he doesn't know, or maybe he doesn't know what direction he should go with the desires that he has in his heart. And Lord Jesus, can you just show me how to be wise and to counsel him or to help him right now to so that he can know what direction to go with his life in a manner that would not help out Angelina and not help out Satan, but yet would be good for Zach and Rule 13 and good that would be good with you, Lord Jesus. Can you show us? Thank you, Jesus. Amen.
Amen.
I think he'll show us. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
That's what I was saying is, like when I shot that cat, I knew because I have pretty good aim, and I knew if I shot just at the right spot that it wouldn't die. And so I made sure I didn't kill the cat. I just wanted to like really drive the point home.
yeah. You know,
So
Zach, I remember
I,
something.
I think
Remember?
Angelina would have just killed the cat.
Oh, she would have been terrible. She probably would have blown up the cat into a million pieces.
Yeah.
Did you hear you heard that video that recording I made of how she attacked my town and the airport and everything? Did you hear that?
I've heard about that. Yeah.
I mean, but because you told me you could listen to a video and get it like in 2 minutes, even though it's like an hour long video.
Yeah. You can just give me one real quick, and I'll pick it up.
Yeah, so you did listen to that recording, right? I've got it up
Yeah.
here.
Yeah, I heard it.
That was horrible.
Yeah.
She's much worse than you. Yeah.
A bit of a mean streak.
Huh?
She's got a bit of a mean streak.
She's cold as ice.
Yeah.
She doesn't have a heart at all. She has no conscience at all. She's totally no conscience. You
You know
had
what's
a
funny is out of all the Jesuits, she was always the most kind of soft spoken out of all us. But whenever something really bad happened, really evil, she did. And sometimes some Jesuits would go, "Oh wow, that was hardcore, that was evil," and Angelina would be like, "Yeah, that's all." She wouldn't even react to it.
Actually, I picked up on her spirit right away because
Yeah,
because the way she talks so coolly and calmly about pollinating my neighborhood and making me sick, and just like it was like she didn't enjoy it, she didn't hate it. It was just cold as ice.
when the Jesuits played that prank on the Crazy Gail website where they said that you killed Bob.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, and the thing was, I don't know if you knew this, but the Jesuits, we didn't tell all the Jesuits what happened. We let almost all the Jesuits thought you killed the guy, and we did it as a prank, just because we thought it would be funny. And Angelina the whole time, all the other Jesuits saying, "Oh my God, they Gail killed somebody. That's really really messed up." And most of the Jesuits thought it was pretty messed up, and were kind of upset actually.
So you
And
lied to your Jesuit order, huh?
it was a joke, like a prank.
Yeah.
And because we thought it would be funny and see who would believe it. And some of us said, "Oh, I don't think so," but why would it? It was a little too real. We made it like really realistic, and we acted all shocked, and I acted shocked. And but Angelina, she was, we even started joking about how we were gonna, how the men were gonna help you move the body, and and a lot of the Jesuits were thinking, man, this is I can't believe what they're doing. This is too far. And Angelina, she was just pretty stone about it. She just thought, oh, good, that's she wasn't even shocked. She didn't even act upset or concerned or any of
I
that.
noticed that about her when I spied on you guys, and she seemed as cold as ice.
Yeah, she's in. Yeah, she was. I always thought she was kind of an interesting Jesuit.
She seemed as cold as ice. And she seemed a little. She reminded me sort of Laurie McBride, but a little smarter.
Yeah, she's pretty smart.
She's pretty smart, but I think you're smarter than she is.
Yeah, well, I mean, I don't want to brag or anything.
Because I had a discussion with Terrence Jenkins. He said, "Yeah, yeah, Zach is smarter, and but Angelina is much more evil."
Yeah, she's pretty evil.
Yeah. Okay. Well, as far as the Gail Shield, I'm glad you told me that, Zach. I'm going to have a prayer with Jesus about that and ask him to help me reorient myself about the Gail Shield.
Yeah, I mean, I think the reason that Jesus wanted you to focus on the Gail commandments was to really. I think it's great that you got everyone in the world doing it, but I think the idea was the Gail commandments were going to be really useful to you.
Actually, Jesus told me to tell people in the world to do it.
Yeah, and I think that's that. I think the reason he had people doing that is because it'll help everyone else and individually, even though they don't have shields. It would make their lives more healthy.
That makes sense.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think that was what he was trying to get him to do. But yeah, so
I
so
got a question for you, Zach. Remember when we
yeah,
had the battle with the Gale android?
yeah.
And when we were about to go into the final battle, when we knew we might all die, and you said you loved me? Remember
What?
that?
I don't really have any memory of the last 24 hours before that happened.
Uh-huh. Jesus told me about that. Well,
Wait,
let me tell you what you said, because I can remember this. It kind of stuck in my mind. You said you loved me and that you and all the Jesuits had accepted Christ right before you went into that battle.
really?
That's what you told me, uh-huh.
Wow. I
Yep. And you know what happened? So what happened is, you all died. And because you said, Gail, I said that prayer, and I just hope that we will go to heaven. And I said, Zach, if you said that prayer, you're going to go to heaven. And apparently you did go to heaven. But because Jesus decided to resurrect you all, he said that he told us later, he said, Gail, Zach doesn't even remember that. He said, he said, the way it works is this, that if somebody dies and they get resurrected, the last 24 hours before they die don't count.
So it just all got erased. I don't ever. Yeah, I don't remember any of that.
Yeah, that's what Jesus told me, but it did happen, Zach. You said that.
Wow, that must have been in a pretty desperate situation.
Yeah. So, but then you were kind of in a desperate situation out there in that bubble. So,
Yeah.
anyways, what Jesus said was, I said, Jesus, that means they're not saved. He says, well, the way it works is if he said the sinner's prayer in the 24 hours right before he died and got resurrected, it doesn't count. It has to be before that time or after that time for it to count. But this time it counted because you said it, didn't you? Sort of, out there.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, how does that work too? Like let's say like I end up being bad again or something. Like does it still count? Am I still saved?
To be honest with you, I'm a little confused about this. I got to be honest with you, Zach, because I used to. I don't know if you know what the Christians believe. Christians disagree on what they
Yeah, I
believe.
don't know. Yeah, if you're a Calvinist or Arminian or what the what the theological standpoint is
I
on
have
that.
kind of evolved. Thanks to my conversations with Jesus. Jesus has surprised me in a lot of ways. I'm sort of semi-Calvinist. I do believe there's some predestination involved, but I also believe in free will, and that in other words, Jesus knows who's going to be his in advance. So he always knew you were going to do this, Zach. Nothing surprises him. So it's not like we can blame Jesus and say it was all predestined and we had no choice. It's even though Jesus knows in advance who's going to be his, that doesn't mean free will is out of the equation. So um, I as far as Christians go, it's whether they can lose their salvation. I'm not sure, but I don't think Jesus wants us to worry about it.
Okay.
He just wants us to do our best. Okay, that's what he told me. He told me like he's cool with Buddhists.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what shocked me. I thought he said, "Yeah, Gail," and he said, "You can quote me on that."
I used
Apparently,
to pick on Buddhists too because they don't fight back.
maybe that's why he's cool with Buddhists because they're so peace loving.
Except the ones out in Thailand.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they can kind of get into turf wars with each other.
Well, he may not mean all Buddhists, but just maybe the Buddhist religion in general. Because my ancestors, my royal ancestors, were devout Buddhists, and they're all in heaven.
Wow,
He told me that. He said you're going to enjoy meeting them when you get there, Gail. So
that's hardcore.
yeah, so Jesus is just full of surprises. I would say, Zach, he understands you're not perfect, okay? And he also understands that you're going to need to grow as a Christian. You're like a baby Christian right now.
Well, I'm a baby Christian with a pretty big penis, though. I mean, it's not huge, it's just the right size.
Well, you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So, oh, by the way, I told Terrence that I wanted you and Rule 13 to be number 3 on my marriage list.
Wow, I'm honored.
Yeah, well, when I made love to you, I was impressed.
It's pretty good, huh?
Well, you're a lot deeper person than you come across to the world.
Yeah, I tend to. I didn't push too hard, did I?
Oh, you're fine. You were absolutely awesome.
Okay.
There was nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with your lovemaking at all. Uh, it's just that while we were having intimacy, I noticed that you have a deep side, and I believe Rule 13 loves that side of you as well.
That's something to think about.
Because you know what Rule 13 told me about you? Because I said, Rule 13, how can you love Zack Knight? He's such a douche. And she said, oh, he has beautiful eyes. She said, when I look in his eyes, I see his soul. And just she said he shows that side to me. Apparently you showed that to her and you didn't show it to anybody else. And she saw something there, Zach.
Yeah, I didn't know she picked up on that.
Oh, she's very smart. I think you know what I think happened. Can you get me? You know what I think I know how you can help me. Can you tell me a little bit like where you grew up and how you became a Jesuit or why you became a Jesuit and how Rule 13 came into your life?
That's we might have to go into that another time because there's a lot of bad feelings, and there's a lot of stuff. There's a lot. Well, we'd have to spend a whole day talking about it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's kind of a long story.
What about Rule 13 coming into your life? Can you give me a summary on that? Did you start by having sex with her?
Well, I mean, yeah, that's usually how I start with most women.
So she basically got introduced to you because you raped her.
Yeah, I raped her pretty good. I mean, and I remember she was making the greatest sounds, when we were doing that.
Okay, so she liked it. And that's why
Yes,
you think
we were.
that's how you got to keep her.
Yeah, I think we were working. She was the leader of the military, and of course I'm the head of the Jesuit order. So we spent a lot of time together,
You mean you
and
were the head of the Jesuit order?
well, yeah, I was. I'm getting used to saying it
It's
in past tense.
Angelina right now,
Yeah, it's Angeline. What a
unfortunately.
bitch.
I know she's horrible. We've got to get rid of her or get her in a semen bubble or something.
Yeah,
So apparently when I heard brain to brain that yeah, she lied to me. She said that we had removed my genetic profile from the earth. So you don't think it's a good idea to remove my genetic profile then?
I don't even know if she ever got it in her.
Oh, because she lied about that. Okay, so
Yeah, she might have lied about it.
you're still in your semen bubble and nothing's changed as far as that's concerned.
Yeah, I think the next step is we're gonna. I think I don't know if Terrence told you, but I think it might be a good idea to announce to the world what's going to happen because if we don't get me out of here, I think there's not going to be a lot we can do to stop Angelina once she stops spinning, and once she makes it back to Earth, I think she's. I don't think she cares about preserving even the planet. She's going to need air to breathe on,
That's true.
And so, I mean, I think the best move is to try to get me out of this bubble. Um, and there's a risk. There's a risk to that because we could actually burn up all the air in the atmosphere.
You don't think my Gale shield will protect you?
I think it might kill you if we leave the Gale shield up around it.
Really? So
Yeah,
that's why you've been telling me about the Gale shield.
yeah, that's been my reason. Because it really wasn't made to be doing what you're using it for, and I mean we were trying to hurt you by shooting the super new cocky through the Gale shield.
Wow. So I wonder what would have happened though if the Gale shield just stayed around Florida. Would that mean you would have just killed the whole planet except Florida?
Yeah,
Oh man, but that'd be terrible.
well, we were. I mean, we were desperate. I mean, we had to get back inside, and we were also just thinking it would kill you, because the energy could have gotten directed straight back at you, and so that was what we were thinking.
I'm surprised that. So you don't think Jesus approves of me using the Gale shield to defend the earth, huh?
Yeah, I think it's one of those things where I think he was kind of letting you do it for the time being, and he might have known it would have worked this long, but I think we all knew that if you used it for too long, that it would eventually end up failing, or you might die, or something like that. Were you getting any nosebleeds from it?
No.
Okay, so that didn't happen yet, but yeah,
Though lately I've been getting a lot of insomnia, but I think that's Angelina.
it could be, but it could be also the abuse of the Gale shield.
Really?
Yeah, it'll put a tax on your body.
Yeah, I haven't noticed that. I feel like I'm having attacks on my body.
Yeah,
It only started the past week.
yeah, it might have been just because you're trying to fight Angelina with the Gale shield for all that time.
So what am I supposed to do? Just give up on the Gale shield and let her kill everybody?
Well, I don't think she's going to go after everyone. I mean, really, unfortunately, with Angelina, I don't think she's gonna kill everyone yet. She wants to have sex with everyone first,
Yeah,
and
she said that she wants to have all the men on my marriage list as her husbands.
yeah, I think that's what her target is, and
Well, she knows if she does that, she's going to destroy me. That's why she's doing that.
yeah, but she's got a lot of people she would have to go through first.
Well, she almost did it because when she came to Florida, if Jesus didn't interfere, I think I would have been a goner along with all of my men.
Yeah, Jesus really showed up and helped out, didn't he?
He showed up as a dildo with his face up on the tip.
Wait, what happened?
He
I didn't
showed
know
up
about that.
as that dildo that my men gave me. He
Yeah,
showed up as a dildo and his face I think was on the tip. And then Angelina tried to get on it, but he was too big for her.
she tried to go like put it inside her.
Yes. And
And
Jesus said my tip was too big for her, so it
his
didn't
tip
work.
was too big, so it wasn't even just. It's not like he couldn't. it's not like it wasn't, she was too shallow. She also wasn't wide enough for the tip.
No, he was too big for her.
Yeah, that sounds like Jesus.
Yeah, I think he thought that was funny.
Yeah, I think it's funny too. So sometimes Jesus and me have, it's, I don't know if that's sacrilegious to say that, but it seems like me and Jesus have some of the same sense of humor sometimes.
What did Jesus say to you in his brief conversation with you?
He made a lot of jokes. Made a whole lot of. I thought he was pretty funny. I don't know if I can repeat them though.
Please, I want to know. I might be able to get some insights on how to advise you.
You know, well, he said he said, "What did the Indian chicken? Why did the Indian chicken cross the road?" And I said, "Why?" And he said, "To keep the poor Indian boy from fucking it." I said, "Oh, that's
my
funny."
goodness,
because,
he said that?
Yeah, Jesus said that to me. I thought that was kind of funny because, in India, the Indian kids are always fucking chickens, the little poor kids in the villages.
Now say that again. Say that joke again. Say it one more time.
Oh, why did the Indian chicken cross the road?
Okay.
To get away from the Indian boy that wanted to fuck it.
Oh my God, Jesus said that.
Well, he said to get away from the poor little village Indian boy who wanted to fuck it.
Oh, that's kind of funny.
Yeah, because if you know about India, those kids are always fucking chickens,
I didn't know that.
Yeah, it's a thing.
Boy, Jesus, what else did he say?
What do you say to a feminist with two black eyes?
I don't know. What did he say?
Nothing. You told him twice.
Nothing? You told him? Oh, no. He's saying they got punched?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Zack Knight, I think I already know how to advise you just from what Jesus is trying to let you know that you can be yourself with him.
I always worry it's going to be a little dangerous, though,
Yeah.
It's a fine line,
I bet you were surprised that Jesus appeared as a penis, weren't you?
Yeah, that's pretty shocking. I think that's pretty hilarious.
It is hilarious. I think Jesus did that on purpose to try to reach you.
That might be, yeah.
Because he knows how you think, and he knows
You want to hear another joke that Jesus said?
Yeah.
Okay, this one's kind of a long joke, so bear with me, okay?
Okay.
It's got a lot of setup. All right. So, so there was this guy. He was jogging along the beach, right? And he comes across a woman laying on a beach towel. She's got no arms and no legs. She's a quadriplegic. She's missing her arms and legs, right? Are you following so far?
Oh, yeah, I am.
Okay, so he sees her and he thinks that's kind of weird, but he keeps jogging. And he starts hearing her cry, so he turns back and says, "Hey, miss, why are you crying?" And she says, "Well, I have no arms, no legs. I just turned 21, and I've never been hugged before." And the guy thinks, "Oh, that's not right. Someone should have given you a hug, because that's not nice that you've been left to, with no arms and no legs and didn't get a hug." So he goes over and gives her a hug, and he picks her up, gives her a hug, and he puts her back down on her beach towel. He starts jogging off again. So then, as he's jogging off, he hears her crying a little louder. So he goes back and he says, "Miss, why are you crying?" And she says, "Well, I'm 21 years old. I've got no arms, I've got no legs, and I've never been kissed before." And so he thinks to himself, that's not good. Everyone deserves to be kissed at least once in their life, So he picks her up and he gives her a big kiss right on the lips. And then he lays her back down on her beach towel, starts to jog off. He's thinking, hey, I did a good thing today. And then he hears her crying even louder. And he says, "Ma'am, what's the problem? Why are you upset?" And she says, "Well, I'm 21 years old. I have no arms and I have no legs, and I've never been fucked before." And so he says, "Well, that's a shame." So he picks her up and he throws her in the ocean and says, "Well, there, now you're fucked."
That was the joke?
Yeah.
That is interesting.
Get it? Because you're pretty much fucked if you end up in the ocean with no arms and no legs.
Jesus is trying to get you to understand that he understands who you are. He's going to work with you at your level and where you are right now. And I think that's why he cracked those jokes with you, Zack Knight.
That might be it.
He understands you. He understands that you're not going to overnight be some outstanding Christian, or good person. And he doesn't expect that of you. So just be yourself and,
I guess as long as I'm doing the right thing, right? The thing that'll help everyone out the most, right?
yeah, basically, yeah.
What if
Jesus,
I have to choose between like two bad things? So I just choose the better of the two?
yeah, just go like that. Yeah. Just,
Okay.
just, Jesus understands that you're not used to being on his side. So he's trying to get down to your level and say, here, I'll give you, I'm gonna help you, Zack. I know you're not used to being on my side. You're used to being on the devil's side, and I'm gonna take you from where you're at, and we'll go from there, just one day at a time. Just take it one day at a time, and I would say, basically, I know, in my own life, let me give you an example in my own life that might give you some wisdom on what to do. Do you remember? I don't know if you were a Jesuit leader back in 1991, were you?
I think I was just kind of working my way. I was pretty young.
Okay. You told me, brain to brain, that you're actually about my age.
Well, that goes into my life story there.
Okay, we won't go
It's
there right now.
complicated. There's some time travel involved, but I'll tell you about that later sometime.
Yeah, later. Okay, let me just tell you in my own life when I was kind of at a point where you're at. Okay, yeah, that may sound amazing, but I was. Okay, I was married, and you have rightly said that I kind of like committed adultery on my husband when I was married with Brent Spiner. Isn't that correct?
I feel embarrassed. I mean, yeah, that was how I saw it. Yeah.
Well, that's how I saw it too, Zack.
Oh, okay.
So now I'm gonna tell you my story to try to help you out. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Back in 1991, I was married. I came from a pretty strong background. I studied to be a missionary and everything, but I was lonely in my marriage because my husband and I, well, he became a Jesuit, so we were not compatible. You know that he became a Jesuit.
Yeah.
Okay, so he wasn't who I married. And I noticed a change in him about 2 or 3 years. He gradually was becoming more and more like a stranger to me. We lived under the same roof, but we were strangers. So I was kind of lonely. And I had been taught, that I was a very strict Christian when I imposed standards on myself. I didn't even kiss or hold hands with this guy when I married him. And I was so proud of that. I was very self righteous. And Jesus had to remove that from my life. So he used my husband to do that. Because what happened was I found out that he was betraying me. And after I had my baby and I had trouble sleeping, I only got like 3 hours of sleep for 3 weeks, and I ended up going to see a psychiatrist because I thought maybe I had a psychiatric problem and that's why I couldn't sleep. I didn't realize at that time I was suffering from probably yeast and all sorts of stuff. So I went to a psychiatrist and they put me on psychiatric medication. In the church that I was going to at that time, for a Christian to see a psychiatrist would be like the equivalent of going to the devil. So, it's like they felt like psychiatry was all satanic and everything, and that if you had to see a psychiatrist, it meant that you were dabbling in like devil worship and stuff. And so,
Wow.
so what happened was when I thought I was suffering from postpartum depression after the birth because I couldn't sleep. I didn't know what my problem was, and the doctor put me on Sermontal, which is a medication for depression. But it only made me worse. It started making me actually start like little mini hallucinations. And so I thought, oh no, I must be psyched. I must be going mad or something. So I voluntarily admitted myself to a psychiatric hospital. And then they put me on lithium and trilithon, which were very bad drugs for me. I think they made me worse anyway. But anyway, they didn't help me. To make a long story short, the church I was going to at the time, I was on a borderline I was living on the Canadian border. I went to a church in Canada. The pastor of that church, when he found out that I was suffering from postpartum depression because of my baby, felt he advised my husband, and we were very active members in this church. He advised my husband that I should give my child up for adoption because they couldn't, that pastor and his wife couldn't have children. So they couldn't understand how any woman could be depressed over a baby, though I wasn't depressed over the baby. I don't know what was wrong with me. My body was going crazy on me. And
Were they trying to get your baby?
They advised my husband that I should give my child up for adoption because I was such an ingrate to be depressed.
What the fuck?
Yes, but you know what's bad about this is my husband kept going to that church and he didn't tell me the pastor said this.
Yeah, your husband is a pussy. I got to tell you.
And so when we moved to Florida, after we were no longer going to that church, though I noticed they were acting kind of strange around me, you know. When we moved to Florida, he admitted to me, and I thought, my husband forced me to go to church where the pastor felt like that. That's when I started feeling like I didn't want to be with this man anymore. You know, it's like, I don't want to play this game. I said, he loves the church and his reputation more than he loves me. So I started getting disillusioned with my religion a little bit, my Christianity. I started thinking, I don't really care if I go to church 3 times a week anymore. This is where I'm telling you where I can relate to you, okay? I was getting kind of evil in my thoughts. Because, you know, for Christians to think, they used to think, Christians think if you don't go to church, it's like, boo, big time sin. You're really backslidden, you know? So I was thinking, I don't know. I got to find myself. I'm not happy. There's something not right about this religion that condemns me because I have to go see a psychiatrist, you know, and accuses me of being a devil worshiper just because I'm having trouble sleeping. So I that's when I started writing Brent Spiner because he was a Star Trek star. That was a demon possessed show, new age, satanic, you know. So I deliberately chose to write a new age satanic show because I knew it was forbidden. It was wrong.
It's pretty
But
hardcore.
so I thought, well, if I just got to find somebody I can be myself with. So I just poured my heart out to Brent in my letters to him. I thought, I'm safe. There's no danger of adultery. He's a big star. He probably isn't even reading my letters, but at least I get to write them and I feel like, you know, I can I can just be myself. I can tell all my bad parts, all my good parts. I told him how I felt about the church, you know, like I think these people are a little, you know, hypocritical, you know. And then I was thinking, and I actually kind of admire some of the new age beliefs about tolerance and stuff, even though my church says it's sinful for me to feel this way. And I was writing him and telling him all this stuff. And I figured he's just reading my letter thinking I'm some crazy lady and throwing it in the trash. To my amazement, I would pick up the phone and there would be silence on the other end. It was Brent Spiner. He was calling me from Los Angeles and he wouldn't say anything. He was just there on the other end. I didn't figure it out though till about a year later when finally that silent person on the other end spoke up. And what happened was I was having trouble with the state too, but I was about to lose my child. I thought because he got into my lithium and by accident. I took him to the emergency room right away, and we had to, oh, it was horrible. He puked his guts out. We saved his life, but then the state got on me for being a bad mother, and they were horrible. They lied to me. They told me to sign a paper saying, we want to come out and teach you how to be a good parent. And if you'll just sign this, I don't know, the Jesuits might have been behind it. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. But I signed it because I was intimidated. I figured if I didn't sign it, it would make me look bad and then they would go after me. It was actually the opposite. By signing it, I gave them permission to harass me. And that's exactly what they did. And my husband made it worse. They would call him up and he would get mad at them and say, yeah, well, just leave me. I said, please don't act like that around the state. It's going to make it worse for us. And I was really not wanting to be married to this guy. He seemed so stupid. I didn't know he was homosexual at the time either. And in bed, let me tell you, in bed, he was as cold as ice. I was very lonely. I was beginning to believe that all men were like that, you know. And then Brent Spiner. Okay, now this is where I'm going to get to. Brent Spiner finally called me up. This was like May 1991. And I'm still a very devout Christian, going to church 3 or 4 times a week, didn't miss a service, taught Sunday school, be very active, going to a revival. It was in the middle of a revival where everybody was confessing their sins and getting right with God that he called me. It's like I see divine providence here. And he said, I want to rape you. Now, being a Christian, for me, what would have been the righteous response? I actually did it. I hung up on him, okay? That was the righteous response. I thought, well, who could that be? I was writing Richard Arnold and Brent Spiner. I figured it, I didn't think it could be one of them, but I didn't know who it was. Well, my friend Melody Rondo sent me that Brent's album, Old Yellow Eyes is Back. And I recognized the voice. I thought, oh my God, that the world famous star Brent Spiner is calling me on the phone and saying he wants to kiss my nipples. He wants to rape me. He said that. I thought, I got to admit, man, now that I know who it is, I thought, and then I listened to the music time after time. I tell myself, I thought, oh my God, this is my dream lover. And I said, I really love it that he likes to rape me. He turns me on. I love it. I'm not supposed to love the Lord, but I love it. I said, my husband is such a dud in bed, and this guy is so exciting. I said, God, why, according to my religion, I can't have this? This isn't fair. I was mad at God. I was getting in fights with him, fist fights in prayer. I said, God, I'm mad at you. You get me stuck with this dud in bed, and he's a creep and a hypocrite, and he doesn't have, and he's all he cares about is what everybody thinks about him, and that everybody in church thinks he's a good Christian, but at home he's horrible. He's cold. He doesn't love me, and now a man who excites me and thrills me and makes me want to have like an orgasm 3 times. I thought, this is so thrilling. I would die for this guy. I can't have him because it would be adultery. I said, I'm so mad at you, God. I was. And
Wow.
I thought, he's going to kill me for this. I thought, Jesus is going to kill me. I said, but I don't care. I'm just so mad. I said, why'd you give me my life? I said, when I was a young lady, I prayed every day that I would only marry in your will. And you gave me this horrible husband. And now the only way I can have my dream man is I have to sin. I have to commit adultery. I said, what's wrong with you, Jesus? I did.
That's pretty hardcore.
I was mad at him. But then finally I said, okay, God. I said, I can't. I said, even though I'm mad at you, Jesus, I still love you because you did die for me on the cross. And I can't. I said, Lord Jesus, I want Brent so bad. And I wish I could say yes. But I love you the most and I can't go to him. I actually cried for 3 hours. I said, I can't. Lord, you died for me on the cross. I can't do this to you. It would make me, I just can't do it to you, Jesus. So when Brent Spiner said, can I come over? I said, no, I'm sorry, but I can't. You can't. He said, why not? I said, it wouldn't be right. But he could tell that I didn't want to say that. Brent's smart. Well, I decided that even though I wasn't going to sin by having adultery, I'd still sin by making love to him in my dreams. And I felt as guilty as hell about it too. We were going to revival at that time. And then this is where I want to show you where Jesus surprised me. This is where Jesus started surprising me. We were having revival services, and people were confessing the sin of pride. They said that is the number one sin. And at this time, Brent was calling me. I was dreaming about making love to him, a married woman, and I was feeling as guilty as hell about that. Here I am in this revival service. People were going up to the front and confessing the sin of pride. Like some lady had a PhD and she said, God has shown me how proud I am about my doctorate and how wrong it is. And I'm going to get right. And I'm going to forgive people that I've had. You know what Jesus...
She had like a really long academic penis, basically.
And what'd you say?
So she had like a long academic penis.
Yeah. So finally I thought, wow, Jesus spoke to me in a small voice. He said, Gail, I have a plan. He said, I actually support your love for Brent Spiner. He told me this in the middle of the revival. And so I would start praying. I said, oh, Lord, you do? I said, but it's wrong. It's adultery. He said, Gail, you have nothing but love in your heart for that man. I am the God of love. He said, it's okay that you dream about making love to him. I just have one thing to request of you, Gail. He said, don't act on that right now. Now is not the time. He said, I'm going to make a way for you. Just don't act on it right now. I've got a plan. He told me that in the revival. And it was like, I would say, pray. I said, oh, Jesus, I pray that people will get right in this revival. And even though I'm a horrible sinner and I dream about making love to Brent Spiner and I'm committing adultery in my heart, but I do have love in my heart, Lord. And I try to honor that love, and I'm not full of pride, like what you say is the worst sin. And so please, I pray that people in the service will get right with you. And as soon as I prayed that, like 20 people went down to the aisle.
So they did it because you prayed that?
Yes.
Wow.
I had power in my prayers. I thought, my God, I'm such a horrible sinner, God. Why'd you answer my prayer? It was like he said, Gail, you have so much love in your heart that it makes your sin of adultery seem like nothing. So he said, it's okay, Gail. It's okay. He said, I'm actually smiling on the love that you have in your heart for that man. And he said, I only ask one thing. You don't commit adultery with him right now. Okay? He told me he said, I've got a plan. You just need to wait and you just need to trust me. I wasn't sure he was speaking to me, but later, and I was even sneaking off at night and sending off letters to Brent Spiner, again, behind my husband's back, and lying to my husband about it. I still felt as guilty as hell. But I thought, maybe that isn't God. Maybe that's the devil speaking to me, I wasn't sure. But, looking back, that was God. He took me from where I was at, Zach. And even though I wasn't perfect, he took me from where I was at. And he used the love I had in my heart. And that's where he was able to use me. He can use a person who has love in their heart, even if they're a horrible sinner, more than somebody who's filled with pride. So the reason why you got saved is because you chose love over pride when you decided to go out and risk your life to save Rule 13.
Wow.
So what God is doing is he's working with you from where you're at. Okay? You're not perfect. I wasn't perfect back in 91. I was sinning in a way. The Bible says that if you know what is right to do and you don't do it, that's a sin. Okay? So in a sense, I was kind of sinning. But yet Jesus just takes us. But Jesus never really, he knew I was struggling in my marriage. He knew that I was struggling with depression over being in a cold marriage. And he knew that if he rebuked me about that, it would have overwhelmed me at the time and he probably would have lost me forever. So he just took me where I was at and worked with me from there. And later there was a funeral service. This was really strange. There was a funeral service. I was dreaming about making love to Brent every day. I had not told Brent yet that I wanted to marry him because I felt like if I did that, it would encourage him to come over. So I just kind of kept it to myself. I only had a very intense friendship with him, but I think he knew. But but I never told him until after Lori McBride raped him. So then I offered myself to him in October, but then I went down on the floor. See, she raped him in September 92. I didn't know that, but I knew I got 3 weeks of silence. I was so distressed in October, even though I was married, I offered myself to him, but then I went down on the floor and prayed and said, Jesus, if you don't want me to do this, shut the door, shut the door, shut the door. It's just that I don't know what to do. I love him so much and he gave me silence and I just sense that there's something horribly wrong with him right now and I don't like it. And I just thought maybe if I offer myself to him, it will make him feel better. And Jesus didn't condemn me for that. But the funny thing is Brent didn't move, so Jesus didn't have to do anything. A month later, in November, there was a funeral of a little girl who died of brain cancer. I went to that funeral at my church. I remember I can't remember exactly what the message was, but I felt like God was speaking to me. It was like he's saying, Gail, what you and Brent Spiner are going through is as much pain as this little girl who had brain cancer and just died. You have had so much suffering, both of you, and I understand. I understand, Gail. I understand the pain. I understand what you guys are feeling. And he said, I'm going to make a way for you. And Brent, someday you have to trust me. So I went home and I opened my apartment door and I had one of those CD players that had random mode on it. I turned it on, and the first song that came on was "There's a Place for Us, Somewhere a Place for Us." I thought, oh my God, that's Jesus. He's talking to me. I said, I believe you, God. I don't know how you. Jesus said, I'm going to make Brent your husband someday, Gail. You just have to trust me. I will do it. I said, but Jesus, I'm married. What's going to happen? You're going to kill my husband? He said, I can't tell you, but I'm going to do it, Gail. I'm going to do it. And you know what? I believed him. And you know what? Whenever you have faith in Jesus, even though you don't understand, he counts that to you as righteousness. Even if there's a ton of sin in your life. So what you need right now, I'm just telling you about my own walk with Jesus. Just if you have faith in him, exercise it. Just start believing in him and believe that he understands where you're at and he's going to work with you at your level. He's not going to make it so that it's impossible for you to please him. He understands you're not perfect and you're going to slip up and you're going to fall, but he'll forgive you. And when Jesus forgives you, he'll forgive you as far as the east is from the west. It's like it never happened.
That's pretty hardcore.
What you need to do, what Jesus likes about you, Zack, is you've got a little bit of love in your heart. Okay? You may not think it's a lot, but you had enough in there that it made an impression on him. You risked your life for Rule 13. That was, you chose love over pride. And didn't you tell me that when you realized that Rule 13 was dead, or you thought she was dead, that you didn't care about being the Antichrist anymore?
Yeah, that's true.
That's why Jesus accepted you, Zack. He liked your attitude.
Well, that's something else.
You made a choice for love. So basically, he knows you're not perfect. He knows you're going to flub up, and he knows actually you've always had a little bit of love in your heart all along, but you've not been honoring that side. It's like that Indian who says, say sick 'em to. You say sick 'em to your bad side, and you don't let your good side win. So now try to, when you get that urge to be loving and soft, feed it. Okay? Don't ignore it. Don't make fun of it. Just feed it. And you're going to make mistakes. You're not going to be perfect. I mean, I wasn't perfect with you. And Jesus got mad at me many times because I wasn't right with you. Like that time when I broke the treaty and you were going to come after me. And Jesus said that would have been the end of you, Gail. He said, but Zack Knight was righteous in this. You broke your deal with him, and I cannot, as a righteous God, go against him when I believe in keeping your word.
I didn't know that.
That's what he told me. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. He knew. He's seen a little bit of righteousness in you, Zack, all along. He knew that you had it in you one day to accept him. See, if Jesus had, I mean, being honest, if Jesus had not intervened and told me to apologize to you, and let's say he took my side and destroyed the Jesuit fleet, I don't think you ever would have accepted him.
That's true.
Because I did break my word. I was a sinner. I fell. I had to get back up. And the man at church at Gail, actually, when I heard that we were executing Jesuits, I kind of felt bad in my heart. I thought, this isn't right. And then Jesus got on me about it, and I reinforced it. And so that's why I apologized. And then Jesus said, I knew Zack would change his mind about attacking you after you apologized, Gail. So he didn't have to do anything more after that.
So, that's pretty smart.
Oh, Jesus is smart, man. So I know what I'm saying, Zach. He knows you're going to fall, Zach, just like I fell. I mean, I sinned, and then when I was thinking I was allergic to everything, that was sin in my life too. Basically, not having faith in Jesus, and you know, did you know whatsoever is not of faith is sin according to the Bible?
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So when you have doubts, you're following Satan. That can happen to Christians as well as to Satan. I mean, basically, I think most people who follow Satan it's because they don't have faith in God. They have doubts about him. And so you got to have faith to be righteous. The Bible says that. Have you started reading the Bible any?
Yeah, I've read it before, and I'm reading it again. Yeah, I
You
kind of before I used to read it, and I just like I'd make fun of parts, and then I'd tear a piece out and use it as toilet paper, you know. But now I'm actually reading it.
What book are you reading right now?
Right now I'm reading Job.
Oh, that's a good one.
Yeah, I just started from the beginning. I got a Job.
Yeah, I've read the Bible from cover to cover many times. I'm trying to. Job's a good book. I'm actually Job is going to be like a type of the tribulation saint.
Yeah,
So
that's kind of what I figured.
yeah, that's a good book to read. Are you enjoying the book of Job?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of right now I'm in the middle of the part where all the bad stuff's happening to him. I figure it's going to get better near the end.
Oh yeah, he loses everything, and everybody accuses him. And they're not near as righteous as he was. Yet Job did have a little bit of a problem though. He was a little bit self righteous, like I was.
Mm.
And if you'll notice, and I'm not trying to say he was a very upright man, but oh yeah, I know what you're reading, Job, because Satan's in that book.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just got there and thought it was interesting.
Well, yeah, because you've dealt with Satan a lot,
Yeah,
and Satan's in that book. He's
yeah,
the
he had a meeting with God and was saying, it's they have
yeah
those kind of meetings every once. I've been in a few of them.
yeah like the non-interference agreement, and
Yeah,
Jesus says that's real complicated.
yeah, it is.
Well, anyways, Zach, as far as um, that spermicide bullet, as far as just be yourself, but
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have faith that it's gonna work. Um, but yeah, I think what we're gonna need to do though is just in case it doesn't work, you might want to make a YouTube video, let people know kind of maybe what happened, with us, and because people will probably be interested in knowing that we've been like having brain to brain and and just kind of how things have developed because I know a lot of the people don't know about that yet.
Zach, you sound like you think that you might die.
Yeah, I might. I might die, and it's possible that everyone else, at least under that part of the planet, might die.
Oh boy.
I would say though, if you want to just after you tell everyone what happened, and if you want to tell them a little bit about the things that you've learned about me, just keep talking to me a little bit, and our brain to brain and things like that. But also just let everyone know, we're gonna be putting the semen bubble right above the atmosphere and hitting it with a spermicide bullet, and that's full of anti-semen, and that's going to generate a big energy burst, and they're going to try to beam me out before I'm incinerated.
Is that
But
the okay? What should I tell the people on Earth to not look at it or what?
yeah, I'd say they should at least, like if they at least try not to look directly at it because it'll be a big flash of white and it's going to be a big aurora borealis. Um, half the planet should see it, and most everyone in North America would see it.
Okay, so it could damage their sight if they look at it.
Yeah, you definitely don't want to look at it. So kind of just shield your eyes when it starts to happen.
Okay.
But also they should probably call like some loved ones, and get some people on the phone and just say, hey, something's about to happen, and I just want to tell you I love you. Like that way. That way, if they're gonna die, they've said all their goodbyes.
Wow. So you think it might take a lot of people out on Earth?
It might. We're hoping not, but it might.
And you're saying that if we don't do this, that you don't see any other way of beating Angelina.
Yeah, I think Angelina's gonna kill everybody if we don't do something to stop her.
This is almost like the Gale android.
Yeah, it's pretty heavy right now.
Yeah, she reminds me of the Gale android in some ways.
Yeah, she's pretty evil.
Yeah.
But I should probably start putting things together here because I got to set up I have to set up a seat belt restraint system because I'm, that way I won't get killed when the force hits me.
Okay,
I, I got to build that out of
I'm
semen.
wondering if Jesus is going to show up. That would be nice.
He told me that he's not going to show up until he said something. He said I'm not going to show up until the confetti, or so. I don't know what that means, um, but he said he's not going to show up till later.
Wow. I wonder if he's going to do a repeat of the Gail android.
I don't know. Yeah, I can't assume anything just yet. But he said yeah. Well, I mean, he just said talk to Gail. That's what he told me. He said talk to Gail, and
Wow.
and and she'll reassure you about things or something. So
Have I done that?
I think so, Gail. I feel a lot more at peace about this. I think it's still real risky, and I think people might die, but that's kind of how it always is when you're dealing with these kind of things.
Well, since people are going to die no matter what, anyways.
Yeah, at least you're not like getting raped to death by Angelina.
Right.
They at least because if they get raped to death by Angelina, they won't get to call their family and loved ones.
That's true.
Yeah, so we're giving them a chance.
Okay. You know what? Let me just say a little quick prayer. Lord Jesus, do you feel that we should go ahead with this spermicide bullet with the aurora borealis and stuff? Just kind of like give me a sense in my spirit. He seems to be telling me to do it.
Okay, yeah, so we'll shoot the anti-semen at the sperm bubble. All right.
Yeah.
Well, I'll let Terrence know, and I'll just kind of get ready to do it. But
When
they'll
do
hold
you
off. They'll hold off until people get a chance to call their families. So
when do you think you're going to be doing this?
I think we're going to try to do it tonight.
Okay, so I probably need to make a video. I think I'll just say it in my own words. This is too long of a recording, so
Yeah,
just
yeah. You might just let them know. I mean, it's probably good to let them know what happened and how you've kind of gotten to know me and what's been going on. Just that stuff and let them know what we plan on doing. It's important they know the reason we have to do it near the Earth is because it needs the ionosphere and the magnetosphere around the Earth. Um, but yeah, anti-semen when it mixes with semen, it's got a lot of energy, and this is a really really super. This is from a super new cocky, so it's pretty bad semen.
that's what Terrance was telling me. And he
Yeah,
said he said it has to be in the Earth's atmosphere because that's the only way you can get that window of time where you can escape.
yeah. If it's in space, the whole reaction happens too quick. But if it's in the atmosphere, it actually kind of slows it down enough, and we have a split second between the time that the semen gets broken up and the time that I'm incinerated. And so they have to beam me out of there right in the middle of that. I'll probably come out with a lot of burns, but I should heal pretty quick if they do the timing right.
Okay. All right. Okay? So, do you think I should make that video right after I get off?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to just tell them that you accepted Jesus and you because you saved Rule 13's life and you chose for love over pride. And that I'll say that you're number three on my marriage list, I believe. So I'll say
Yeah.
that I've actually made love to Zack Knight, and I thought he was a very deep and awesome lover. I thought you were. And Rule 13, I might give a quick recap about Angelina Ballerina, and how that she's twirling out in space, but eventually she's going to stop and then she's going to come back and try to kill everybody on Earth. So we have like two options. We can do nothing, and because you're stuck in your semen bubble and you can't get out unless we do the spermicide bullet. Doesn't seem like there are any other options.
Yeah. I mean, the only way is the anti-semen from the spermicide bullet.
So basically, by doing this, there's a chance that you might live.
There's a chance I might live. There's also a chance that it might kill everyone on the planet.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to tell them all to pray.
Yeah. Tell them all to pray and call anyone they love and they can look at it after because the aurora borealis. If they don't die, it's going to be really pretty. But don't look at the flash because there's a lot of radiation in that and it might make them blind.
Okay. And
They should probably cover their balls too.
cover their balls.
Yeah, like if any of the guys, have like a piece of lead they can put in front of their testicles, because the flash has a lot of radiation. It might make a lot of guys sterile.
Oh, what should they cover their balls with?
Maybe like a lead sheet or something. It's kind of like an X-ray.
Boy, I guess my men will have to supply that.
Yeah, we'll pass out lead sheets for
You know what?
everybody.
Let me take some notes. This is getting a little bit complicated. I don't want to leave out anything important. Now, hold on. Okay, just kind of like a speech outline.
Yeah,
Um, okay, number one, just say Zack saved on Jesus' side. Number two, Angelina, new Antichrist. She's the new Antichrist, isn't she?
yeah,
Boy, that Satan is evil, man. He lied to you about having a reserve space fleet.
yeah,
Okay. Angelina, new Antichrist. Uh, let's see, spinning in space right now. I think that's because of my Gale shield. Okay.
yeah. And then also that you got to know me.
Yeah.
We've been having brain to brain.
Got to know. You actually sound very much right now like you did before you and the Jesuits died with the Gale android. It's the same attitude. I'm sensing it.
Wow.
Yeah, you forgot all that, but I remember.
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah, it sounds like deja vu here. Got to know Zack. Uh, okay, so I'll talk about that. And then you'll mention you're going to use spermicide bullet.
Yeah, and the reason we're going to do that is because it's got anti-semen. That's how they work.
Has anti-semen.
Yeah, when anti-semen and semen come into contact, it makes just huge amounts of energy.
Okay,
But they kind of obliterate each
I
other.
need to also tell them that if the semen bubble, if it touches the sides of Church of Gail, it's going to suck everybody into it.
Yeah, I mean, we can't. It's got to be taken care of too, just because it's a dangerous thing. So they're going to have to put it out, basically right on the ionosphere of the Earth's atmosphere.
Okay, hold
And
on. Hold on.
The reason it has to be within the magnetosphere and ionosphere is that'll slow down the reaction of the semen and the anti-semen.
Ionosphere and magnetosphere.
Yeah, it's got to be within there.
Within to slow down reaction
Of the semen and anti-semen.
of semen and anti-semen.
And that'll give the men a split second where between the time that the semen is gone and the time that I'm incinerated, to beam me out of there.
Okay. Between the time semen is gone and you're incinerated.
Yeah.
Does Rule 13 know about this?
I'm afraid to tell her about. I don't want her. I'm going to probably talk to her right after we get off of here.
She's going to be upset.
Yeah.
Okay, and gone. Zack is incinerated. Yeah, but then what can you do? You got to get out of that bubble.
Yeah, we have to get me in. That's the only way we can figure out how to do it.
Okay, ionosphere, magnetosphere. Okay.
Yeah, and I think the rest of it is just that there's a lot of risk, and I could die, but it could also scorch the whole Earth's atmosphere and kill everyone else too.
Okay, Zack could die. And could scorch the whole Earth and kill everybody on Earth?
Yeah, it could do that.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so don't look at the aurora. Don't look at the aurora borealis.
Well, you can look at the aurora borealis. Just don't look at the flash.
Oh,
There's going to be a big white burst.
don't look at the flash. Okay.
Yeah, I mean the aurora borealis. They can look at that.
Okay, because you could go blind. And men should put lead over their balls.
Yeah, because of the radiation burst.
Radiation. Okay.
But I mean, most importantly, they should probably call their friends and loved ones. You know.
Let me get it. I'm taking more notes. Hold on. Let me get another card. I'm wondering, Zach, if you didn't accept Jesus, do you think Angelina would have killed you, or she just would have made you part of her harem?
You know, I think once Angelina knew that I was in trouble and I was stuck in the semen bubble, I don't think she cared what I did. She just saw the opportunity to take over the Jesuit order.
Yeah, that's true. But she lied to you about Rule 13. Maybe she was
Yeah,
planning on killing Rule 13.
yeah, I think she was. She hit her in the head with a frying pan, from what I heard.
She did, yeah. And she gave her a pretty bad concussion, from what I understand.
That's horrible.
It is horrible. It's affected Rule 13's sight.
That makes me so angry. That bitch.
Yeah, she's terrible. Yeah, I know. It makes me angry too. That's why I went out of my way to contact you because I knew you wouldn't like this.
Yeah,
And you deserve to know the truth about Rule 13 because I figured, I told myself, I said, I bet Angelina lied to him and told him Rule 13 died, and he deserved to know that Rule 13 is alive.
yeah, that's what she told. She told me that Rule 13 died.
And didn't she make love to you to try to make it seem convincing?
Yeah, yeah. She tried to, but she's actually never seen my penis.
That's interesting. How did you make her pregnant?
Well, I could just look at women.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I could just look at her and make her pregnant.
You never desired her?
Well, I mean, she kind of, yeah, she was kind of a bitch,
Oh, so you don't really like bitches. So,
Well, I mean, there's certain kinds of bitches I like, but
but not her kind.
yeah,
Too cold.
she was too cold in a weird way. She was kind of like a little sister. It was kind of weird.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, lead over their balls. Um, don't look at the flash. You could go blind. And what else? Did I leave anything out? Okay. So I just
And then just make sure they call like any friends and loved ones and tell them that you love them and any of the things that you might want to do before you die.
I can't do that with my family. They all think I'm nuts.
Yeah. Well, I mean, yeah, I think that's kind of sad. I think one of these days, I think your ex husband he's a bit of a douche. I think he deserves whatever he has. But one of these days, I think Eric's going to come around and he's gonna get over it.
Oh, wait a minute. I think Eric's already on my side, isn't he?
Yeah, he's on your side, but he's just kind of. I know he's got a lot of baggage.
Oh, that's true. Well,
Yeah.
the poor kid. He grew up with a father who I think did some things to him.
Yeah, I know he stuck his penis in Eric's butt a few times.
Oh God, Eric never told me about that.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it probably wasn't a big deal because his penis. Well, you've seen David's penis. It's not like it would do much damage.
But still, that's kind of humiliating.
Yeah.
Oh, for my son. Okay, call friends and loved ones. Tell them they might die. Okay.
Yeah, and just and just say your goodbyes, just in case.
Okay.
And I think that's it.
Zach, I got something to say to you, which I think will encourage you.
What's that?
Did you know that I have an interview with Tosh O in about a week?
Oh, Taj Point oh.
Yep.
That's wow. I guess that makes sense because
listen,
I know they got rid of all their Jesuits.
Yeah, okay, just listen to me now. Listen to me.
What's that?
Okay? I think we need to have faith that something's going to happen, even if it's a miracle. I first objected. I said, "Oh, I don't think we better do that. Angelina's probably going to crash my jet on the way flying over. They want to fly me to Los Angeles. They're going to pay for everything, hotel, rental car. I mean, everything, And I objected. I said, I don't care about being. You were there, weren't you?
What's that? Yeah, yeah, I heard that part. Yeah,
Don't you remember that Jesus said he would protect me on the flight?
yeah, it was cutting out, but yeah, I think I heard something, but I didn't realize it was Tosh
Okay,
Point
think
Hill.
about this one, Zach. How could Jesus protect me on the flight if I'm going to be dead?
Maybe sometimes he slips and he tells you some things how they're going to turn out. But at the same time, we should probably still warn people because
No, 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 no. I agree we should still warn people. But it looks like this is going to be a Romans 8:28 situation. Are you familiar with that verse?
yeah,
And we know that all things work together for good to them that love God, to them who are the called according to his purpose.
yeah, I know that. Yeah, that's a good one.
Okay. I don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like I'm going to come out alive on the other end of this. I don't know. I mean, he didn't say anything about you. It looks like I'm going to be alive.
Yeah, so I mean, at least you know that like the people that are making the Taj Point oh show, they're going to be there. They might be like floating in space, and you might be flying in an airplane through space to go to the show.
Oh, I never thought about that.
I mean, but you know that you'll be alive, and you know that like enough people will be around. It's not like everyone will die.
Well, Jesus said he's got me covered on this.
That's good. Yeah, that's good.
Okay, well, I thought, I don't know, I just had this feeling that, I don't know what's going to happen, but I think it's going to come out good in the end.
I hope so.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I better get ready. Hopefully, when I get out, we can talk some more.
Yeah, I'm going to be praying for you, Zach.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yeah, and I'm going to ask the world. Oh, got to put that in there. We all need to pray.
Yeah. You can also let them know, like how I built like all the microphone to get on Skype out of the semen and all that, because people probably might be interested in knowing that like I made this whole apartment and all my furniture and everything in the computer and everything like out of semen.
That is interesting.
Yeah, that's one of the. I mean, but I took a semen engineering course.
Okay, semen engineering course. Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks for the information about the Gale shield, Zach. I didn't know that. That might explain why I haven't been sleeping good lately.
Yeah, hopefully that'll give you better sleep.
Yeah. I don't like it when I can't sleep.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I feel like I'm kind of like wearing out, you know?
Yeah, make sure you get some rest. I think after this, just get some rest right after. You don't need to stay up to watch it or anything. It's you're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah, because of what Jesus said, right?
Yeah, I would just get your rest and focus on how to defeat Angelina. You need your rest for that. So
No, to obey the Gale commandments.
yeah.
Okay. All
So
righty. Well, it was great talking to you, Zach.
yeah, it's great talking to you too.
And just maybe start quoting Romans 8:28 to yourself through the whole thing.
That's what I'll be saying it out loud. I can yell it as loud as I want. No one can hear me outside. So
Do you have that verse memorized?
yeah, there's a song. It's all things work together for good for those who love God, who are called according to His purpose.
That's
There's a song,
right. That's right. Very good, Zach.
Yeah.
That's good.
Yeah, I mean, I used to play songs like that, when I was a kid. So
You know, this kind of reminds me of that Bible story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Are you up on that one?
yeah, that's where they were gonna go in like a furnace, right?
They refused to worship the golden calf, I think it was, or something, and the king threw them into the fiery furnace because they wouldn't be obedient. And Jesus showed up in there with them, and they were walking around and unharmed in the fire.
They were making it hotter and hotter, and then the guards
That's
were trying
right,
to, like,
exactly.
yeah.
Yeah, well, Jesus still does miracles, so if he chooses to do so, he might. So we'll see.
Yeah, I'll definitely want to be as fireproof as possible for this.
You're talking about the people or you? Oh, you.
Yeah, I'm going to be right in ground zero of it. So
Yeah, boy, I'll tell you.
yeah. I'll probably come out with a good suntan if I live.
Ah, you know what? You're pretty brave.
We'll see. I'll tell you how brave I am. I'm wearing white pants right now, and if they're brown when I get out, you'll know what happened. I'll have pooped myself.
Oh, hey, just because you get scared doesn't mean you're not brave.
Yeah, well, that's good to hear.
It doesn't mean you're not brave. So,
Yeah.
so what's
All
your
right.
what's your? I think I want to tell the world this. What's your motive for wanting to risk your life like this?
Oh, that's I'm not a good judge of my own motives. I don't know. I mean, I definitely want to see Rule 13 again.
That's nice. That might mean a lot to Rule 13 if anything happens to you. Hey, you know
Yeah,
what? You will see Rule 13 again, even if you die, because you're going to heaven.
that's true. I'd rather see her earlier than that, though.
Okay. All right. I'll
All
go ahead and
right.
make the
Well,
video.
I'm gonna go ahead and put my seatbelt together, but I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you soon, hopefully.
Hopefully. Yep.
All
Okay.
right. Okay.
I'll be praying for you, Zach.
All right. I'll talk to you later.
Bye bye. Love ya.
I love you too, Gail.
Bye bye.
Bye.